Beste mensen, Festival Schietmacher is er trots op om als opening te presenteren de Nederlandse première van de voorstelling Voodoo Waltz van Marne en Imre van Opstal. Marne en Imre, broer en zus uit dat Limburgse gezin uit Velde, beroemd vanwege 4 kinderen en alle 4 een professionele carrière in de danswereld. Marne en Imre dansten jarenlang in de top van het Nederlands Danstheater. Imre ook bij Batshiva in Israël. En sinds een aantal jaar richten ze zich op hun choreografencarrière. En dat gaat goed. Ze timmeren internationaal aan de weg en worden geroemd vanwege hun bewegingstaal, die enerzijds grillig is, vreemd, buitenaards bijna, en anderzijds emotioneel, diep menselijk en herkenbaar. Ze werken samen met gezelschappen in allerlei landen, maar ook met een modehuis als Dior voor het choreograferen van modeshows, met schoenenmerken voor kunstvideo's, met muziekartiesten als Rai X en singer-songwriter Likke Lee voor videoclips. En nu voor Voodoo Waltz bij Schauspielhaus Bochum en das Hessische Staatsballet werken ze voor het eerst niet alleen met dansers, maar ook met acteurs, waaronder niemand minder dan Pierre Bokma. Met 6 dansers en 3 acteurs beten ze zich vast in de intrigerende roman Voodoo Waltz van de Sloveense schrijfster Janja Rakuš. Bokma speelt het hoofdpersonage, een tragische man die noodgedwongen leeft van sekswerk. Hij speelt dat in vrouwenkleren en die kortsluiting krijgt in zijn brein, in zijn epileptisch brein van de klappen die hij in het leven heeft opgelopen. Een fascinerende voorstelling met tekst en dans. En we vroegen Marne en Imre naar deze bijzondere samenwerking met acteurs en dansers in de voorstelling Voodoo Waltz. Good morning, Marne. Thanks for making some time for this interview. Imre couldn't join us. She's flying from New York to Milan. How is it for you as brother and sister and a choreographer duo to fly all over the world? Continue 8 months a year. You're on the road, I read.
It's been a wonderful journey. I have to say, since we stopped dancing in 2020, both for me at Netherlands Dance Theatre 1 and Imre at Batsheva Dance Company, it's been a roller coaster, but we feel super privileged and happy that we get to live this life. It's nice to finally be able to do what you want to do and to create full time. When you spend this much time together and also being in a creative space, you really need to get on the same wavelength because you don't have a lot of time to continuously discuss every detail. You need to really trust each other, each other's vision, and know that you're aiming to do the same thing. So I think for us, it's been super helpful to know, why are we doing this? What is our motivation? And also to be able to trust, like I trust her completely, and I know she does me as well, with what we want to do and the knowledge that we bring to the studio. So of course, with that also sometimes comes different layers. You bring in the family layer, you bring in the brother-sister layer, which is of course another level of complexity. But it's been really, really beautiful. Yeah.
And now you're going to perform the openings performance from Schietmacher, Voodoo Waltz. It is your first collaboration with actors and dancers on a music score from Amos Bental. Let's start about that collaboration with dancers and actors. Why did you want to work with actors for the first time?
Johan Simons, who is the artistic director of Schauspielhaus Bochum, he approached us to create a new work with actors. I think this was after he saw Take Root and Baby Don't Hurt Me. After seeing that, he thought it could be interesting for us to work with actors. And our interest was already there. We both love film, we love theater, we love acting in a broader sense. We love theatricality. And of course, working with the actors in tandem with the dancers was really inspiring. It was beautiful to see how the disciplines in a way are so uniquely different to each other, but also really complement each other. As a choreographer, you're constantly finding ways to communicate certain things, and it's not always the most efficient. It's dance in a way is a very inefficient way to communicate when it comes to content. You can sit in one line, you can say so many different things, whereas in dance, we need to create 30 minutes for people to maybe perceive this feeling that you're trying to convey, which is, of course, its beauty, but sometimes also very tricky because sometimes you just want to say it.
Pierre Bokma is
Yes.
part of the group on stage. How did you get Pierre Bokma engaged in this new experience?
Pierre Bokma is a really close friend of Johan Simons. They're childhood friends basically, and we had a really beautiful meeting with Pierre in Rotterdam. What I can really tell from Pierre is that he's a real artist in the sense that he's constantly looking for challenges, constantly looking to adapt himself to different creators, and he has a very imaginative mind and a super collaborative energy. And I think he was very interested in doing something new. It was very, very cool to see him dive into this dance bubble that we created for him.
It is based on the novel Voodoo Waltz for Epileptics from Janja Rakuš. Why did you choose this novel?
Imre had this book on her desktop already for, I think, 5 years. And of course, we were looking for a dramatic text to work with. We want to be able to play. We want to be able to rip things apart, to open things up. And then when you start reading it, I mean, calling it a dizzying work for a reason. It is I think she calls it a hypergraphic pilgrimage, which means, in her own words, that it is basically a kaleidoscope of themes, characters, basically written in a non-linear way. And it's almost written like a seizure. And it's asking you to meet the book with your own imagination and to hook into the own connotations that you have regarding the subject matter. It's about capitalism, it's about the pharmaceutical industry, it's about sex workers in the red light district, it's about epilepsy, of course, and it's about the whole span of what epilepsy means. It's not just the seizure itself, but it's also the heightened state that you can live in. It's the connection between ecstasy and epilepsy. And what I've learned a lot about epilepsy through her writing and also getting to work with her. So for us, what we wanted to do is stay true to the book. And we didn't want to make a show that makes sense in a way that you can follow it step by step by step. It should feel like you need to meet the piece. It's not an easy work, but we didn't want it to be easy. You have to pay attention. You have to use your own imagination. And it's been really interesting to see what people perceive. Everyone has their own experience with the work. I think what we first had to do is select the scenes that were necessary because the book has a lot of volumes, they call it hours, 36 hours. And we had to first select, okay, what is very essential? How can we still get a slice of this book that somewhat creates a character arc? On the paper, you have all of these different ways of bringing in media and bringing in different ways of telling the story, but we had to figure out a way of how to put this on stage. So what we realized very quickly is that we need a space that can change. We need to be able to believe that we are in a different space all the time. So you can see this in the very simple set design, but in a way it's quite effective that we can bring walls up and down and the ceiling up and down. And through lighting, beautiful lighting of Tom Visser, we can change the space quite quickly. How can we play this in a way that is sometimes purely theater, really text, doing, 10 minutes of a dialogue, sometimes purely dance, and other times also all of these interconnective ways of bringing dance and movement together. And Yeah, that was a whole challenge, honestly. But also really fun. And of course, on top of that, we have the music, and the lighting and all of these different elements that have to come into play. So
Do you think you have to be 16 or 18 before going to this performance?
I think they said that it's 16 plus, which I understand. I think it's interesting because those scenes, the book is about radical freedom. And what is very beautiful about the book is that it's sometimes super metaphysical and poetic. It's existential. It speaks about the biggest themes of life. And then other times it's super to the point, very grounded, and the language is explicit. But I think it's essential for us to understand the life that Orphan lives. It is essential for us to understand the gravity of what this character goes through on a daily basis and how he's constantly crossing his boundaries or crossing his lines to do what he does, ultimately leading to the end of the piece.
We are looking forward to Voodoo Waltz as the opening performance of Schrittmacher. Thanks,
Thank you so
Marne.
much. Thank you. See you there.
See you there.